Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning into the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Nick Eden, and welcome to episode 19 of Morning Cup of Merch. All right, guys. So I want to thank everybody who tuned in yesterday. I started the top 10, top 5 series that I'm going to be doing for the week, where I basically break down the content that I consume for Merch by Amazon and print on demand, whether it's YouTube channels, podcasts, tools, resources, the whole nine. I'm going to break that down all week. So yesterday was top 10 YouTube channels that I watch for my content. Today, I'm going to be doing my top 5 podcasts that I listen to. These are podcasts that I listen to on a weekly or monthly basis that help me out when it comes to content for Merch by Amazon. And we're going to get right into it. So, number 5 will be Merch Lifestyle. So, here's the thing. These guys haven't done a show for at least a month, maybe a month and a half. I don't know if there's a situation where they're just not going to come back or what. But the good thing about it is the content that they put up prior to is still good. Obviously, there are some changes on the platform over the years, but it doesn't take away the fact that Merch Lifestyle still has some good content for their podcast. So they're my number 5. Number 4, The Smart Way to Start in E-Commerce by Matt Sheeran. Now, you guys are familiar with Matt with Real Talk with RJ and Matt. The things that he does in terms of his Instagram. If you guys aren't following him on Instagram, please do. His own channel on YouTube, Merch Elephant. But he's recently started a podcast. And what I always like about what Matt does is Matt tries to make sure that he's always giving some type of value. You know, everything is not just an opinion rant or anything like that. He actually tries to give real value. I love the fact that he's using this platform to not only talk about Merch by Amazon, but to just talk about e-commerce overall. So, which is something I think we all need to start concentrating in on, because I think if you just stay in the merch category or the print on demand category, you won't be able to really grow. And if you really master what merch does and print on demand overall is, you can take over anything. You can do drop shipping, you can do private label, retail arbitrage, any of it. I mean, so I love that he's trying to expand that portion of it in terms of building a brand, the whole nine. So that would be my number 4. Number 3. So this guy is probably the most entertaining guy on the channel. He has a YouTube channel, but he also has a podcast, and that's Reezy Resells. Now, full disclosure, all of his shows aren't about merch. They're not all about print on demand. He has a very broad scope of e-commerce, selling online, different things like that. So I think that his channel is good for the content overall. And like I said, he's probably the most entertaining guy on this list. So please definitely check out Reezy Resells. Number 2, the Passive Shirt Profit podcast with Lisa Urban. I mentioned Lisa yesterday when I talked about my top 10 YouTube channels. She puts more content on the YouTube channel than she does on her podcast. She used to do her podcast maybe once a week. Now it's maybe like once or twice a month, but it's still loaded with content, loaded with value. It's not a very long podcast. It's usually between 7 and 15 minutes. But the good thing about it is she gets straight to the point, and it's full of value. Again, it's really full of value. Before I get into my number 1, let me go ahead with my honorable mentions. Now, here's the deal. Some of these, they don't put up content anymore, but you can still go back and get some great value from them. And they're not all centered around Merch by Amazon. So, my first honorable mention would be Entrepreneur on Fire. Okay, Entrepreneur on Fire is, as a matter of fact, I don't think they put any content up about Merch by Amazon. But from the aspect of starting and running a business, Entrepreneur on Fire is one of the best, right? So, and if you guys have listened to E on Fire, then you know what I mean. I don't have to really explain really what that means. My second honorable mention would be Merchmates, which was a podcast. I want to say they stopped in 2018, early 2018, but it's still a great podcast in terms of some of the value and the content that comes up. I forget the name of the official podcast. You know what? I got it. It's Merch Entrepreneur with Elaine Haley. And for a while, that was my number 1. But she's kind of slowed down on the content that she's put out. I don't think I haven't checked out a podcast in a while, but I think it's been quite a minute since she did. But she was one of the first ones to do a lot of interviews that I used to check out. But again, still a ton of value that comes into the past shows. Just keep in mind that you have to tailor it for what's going on in merch today. My next honorable mention, Merch Money. I talked about them yesterday on the channel. Helen, Amy, and Brianna, wonderful show. Absolutely love them. They have the show now in podcast form. So if you're a person that's always on the go and you don't have time, you can't just pull up YouTube and you don't have YouTube Premium, then you can get the audio version, just pure audio of Merch Money. So they're in the honorable mentions, as well as Real Talk with RJ and Matt. They take the content from the YouTube channel and they put it in audio format, so you can definitely use that. My number one podcast for Merch by Amazon, hands down. They were the first. They've been the most consistent, and lately they have been on fire. Merch Minds with Glenn and Young. You can start, let's put it this way. Let's say you wanted to get some coaching. You can literally start from episode 1 and work your way up. And I say that because you get to see their full journey. Now, I don't say that it's just because I was on the podcast a few weeks back. Not at all. If I never was on the podcast, I would still tell you that's my number one podcast that I listen to. If I don't listen to anything else when it comes to print on demand or Merch by Amazon, I listen to Merch Minds every single week. Everything from selecting niches to interviews down to taxes, which from what I've heard has been their lowest downloaded show. For you guys who want to be real business owners, you need to listen to that show when it comes down to breaking down taxes and everything. So they have been so consistent and they have given so much to the merch community. I can't express enough how thankful we should all be to have them as a part of our community. Again, they were the first. They've been the most consistent. A lot of podcasts have fallen off since they came out, including mine, including the 4554 podcast. So I just want to thank them. They are the number one. If I don't listen to anything else, I'm going to listen to Merch Minds podcast. So that's my top 5, in addition to my honorable mentions for podcasts that I listen to and consume content on Merch by Amazon. I'm going to continue this throughout the week with my top 10s and top 5s. Tomorrow is going to be my top 5 research tools for Merch by Amazon. That's going to be the top things that I use when I'm looking for new niches. And it's, some of them are newer. Some of them I've been using since I first started, the whole 9. So I would definitely tune in for that one. In addition to that, a little bit later today, I'm going to put out a video about a tool that I've been using for my text-based designs that's helped me scale up, I want to say in the last week, over 300 unique designs with, almost little to no effort. Some of you guys are familiar with it. Some of you guys are not so familiar with it. But I will drop that video a little later today. That's all I pretty much have for today, guys. Take care, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.